Dynamite Hits. Boom goes the dynamite.
Hey everyone, Dynamite David here, and welcome to the Winning Daily Podcast. I've got soccer, college football, and NFL picks for you today, but we're going to start first in soccer. That's where I've got the most picks, and it starts first. Starting in the Premier League, I'm going to go with a go-to winner here in Man City. I've got a few picks with them versus Wolves. I'm taking Man City minus the 1.5 versus Wolves at minus 110. I've got 2-unit play on that one. And then I'm going to go with a big scoring day for Man City. Man City over 3.5 goals at plus 340. I've got a half a unit play there. Moving on to one that I think is going to be a low scoring affair. I think Manchester United finds a way to get a win against Palace, but I'm going to take Manchester United to win and under 2.5 goals in the Manchester United Crystal Palace game. That's plus 280. I've got half a unit play on that. Next up, I've got 4 plays in the Newcastle-Burnley match. I'm going heavy Newcastle here. They found a way to get things working last week, and I think they're going to continue that momentum this week. I'm going to take Newcastle minus the 1.5 versus Burnley at even money, plus 100. 3-unit play on that. Newcastle over 3.5 at plus 390. Half a unit play on that. And Newcastle over 4.5 goals at plus 900. A quarter of a unit play on that. And I'm also going to sprinkle 1 unit on the first half over 1.5 goals at plus 245. I've got 1 play in the West Ham versus Sheffield United match, and that's West Ham to cover the spread of minus 1.5 at plus 145. 1 unit play on that one. I've got a sprinkling of a few plays here on Tottenham versus Liverpool. I don't have a winner selected in this one, but I'm going to take both teams to score first half at plus 186, 1 unit there. Both teams to score second half at plus 134, 1 unit there. We hit one of those, we're up money. And then I've got a quarter of a unit on the 2-2 exact score at plus 950. And then I've got a couple goal scoring props here. I'm going to take Son 2 or more goals at plus 800, quarter of a unit on that. And Nunez at 2+ goals at plus 850, quarter of a unit on that. My last play in the Premier League, I'm going to take Nottingham Forest at home, draw no bet versus Brentford. I just think they're better, and they're at home. So I'm going to take the draw no bet. It's even money at minus 102. 2-unit play on that one. I've got a few plays in the Bundesliga this week. I'm not going to Serie A this week. I looked at Milan, couldn't come up with a play on them, even though I've had them every week. So we're going to move on to the Bundesliga. I've got Leverkusen first half over 1.5 at plus 300 in their matchup against Mainz. I've got half a unit on that, and I'm also going to take the spread in that one. Leverkusen minus 1.5 versus Mainz, plus 135, 1 unit play on that. And then we're going to go back to a team that I've jumped on last week, or actually last 2 weeks, Stuttgart. I'm going to take them draw no bet versus Cologne at minus 135, 2-unit play on that. And I'm also going to take Stuttgart to win both teams to score versus Cologne at plus 350, half a unit play on that. Now let's wrap up our soccer with our parlays. I've got all 3 of these teams minus the 1.5 spread. It's Man City, Newcastle, and West Ham. All of those combined is plus 835. I've got a 2-unit play on that. We're going for some big money there. 1 unit play on this one. I've got Everton money line versus Luton Town, Arsenal money line, and Nottingham draw no bet plus 380. 1 unit on that one. And then we're going to make our money here on these last 2 plays. I'm going to take Manchester City and Newcastle money line parlay for minus 136, 10-unit play there. This is going to be a bankroll builder. And then we'll see if we can get a little bit more on the spread on those 2. City minus 1.5 and Newcastle minus 1.5 plus 281, 5-unit play there. That's going to be my soccer play of the week. That's it for soccer. Now we're going to move on to college football. It was tough finding a lot of picks this week. There's not very many big matchups, but I managed to find a few diamonds in the rough. Starting with Friday night, I'm going to take the Wolfpack in the blackout game at home, plus 3.5 versus Louisville. Yes, Louisville's got a potent offense, but I think that's because they've played a lot of teams with losing records, and NC State's defense is going to give them some trouble at NC State. Moving on to Saturday, I took this under in the Colorado matchup versus Oregon last week. I'm going to ride the under in the Colorado versus USC match. It's I still think a little too high, despite this will be a high scoring game, but 73.5 is awfully large with the new time rules they've got in college football. I'm going to take the under 73.5 minus 115 2-unit play there. We've got a close matchup next between James Madison and South Alabama. I just think James Madison's a little better, and they're the home team, and it's under a field goal spread at minus 2.5. I'm going to take that minus 130 there. 1-unit play on that one. Virginia has yet to find a win this year, and they're going up to Boston College, who plays pretty well at home. Almost took down Florida State at home. So I'm going to take Boston College minus the 3.5, minus 105. 1-unit play there. And then Cal, they've been surprising me a little bit despite their struggles last week against Washington. I think they bounce back against Arizona State and cover the large 12.5 spread, minus 105. 1-unit play on that. Going to the SEC, probably one of the bigger matchups in the SEC this week. LSU minus 2.5 at Ole Miss. I'm taking the Tigers minus 2.5 for minus 115. 2-unit play on that one. Just Kiffin doesn't usually get it done in the big games, and this is another big one for him after the letdown against Bama last week. Going up next to a team that's been sneaky good and may have one of the better teams in as far as defense goes in college football, Georgia State minus 1.5 versus Troy. Troy was really good last year. They're not quite as good this year, and I think Georgia State's the surprise Power Five team, or not Power Five, Group of Five team this year. So I'm going to take Georgia State minus 1.5 at minus 110 versus Troy. 3-unit play on that one. I like Georgia State here. Next up is going to be my college football play of the week. I'm going to take Texas State, who's got a pretty potent offense, minus 6.5 at Southern Miss. Southern Miss is struggling majorly this year and just lost to Arkansas State last year, who was a terrible team. So I'm going to take the up-and-coming Texas State minus just under a touchdown, minus 6.5 versus Southern Miss. 10-unit play there. I really like this one. I think we're going to make a lot of money here. Probably the biggest game in college football this week, Notre Dame going to Duke. I think Notre Dame had that game won, and some coaching errors and some mistakes there at the end cost them that game against Ohio State last week. I think they're going to get things right and just beat a team that they outclass in Duke. I'm going to take Notre Dame minus 5.5 at minus 112 on the road at Duke. 3-unit play there. And then my last straight college football play is going to be Pitt minus 2.5 at minus 115 versus Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's another team that's struggling, and I think Pitt's just going to run it all night long, and that'll be enough to get the win and cover the 2.5. 3-unit play on that one. I have one parlay in college football. It's a 3-legger. It's going to be Georgia State minus 1.5, Texas State minus 6.5, and Pitt minus 2.5 for plus 587. 1-unit play on that one. All right, now we're going to get some NFL plays this week. We didn't get them out the last couple of weeks, but we're going to get them out this week. I don't have a lot, but I've been doing pretty good in the spread, so I don't have any props in the NFL because I haven't been hitting many of those, but I've been doing really well percentage-wise on the straight bets. So just a lot of straight bets in the NFL for me this week. I'm going to take the Bengals minus 2.5 at minus 106 versus the Titans. 2-unit play there. This is going to be my NFL play of the week. I like this one. Steelers minus 3, minus 102 versus the Texans. Stroud's been doing good at the Texans, but I think he's going to have a hard time up against this potent Steelers defense. Steelers minus 3, 3-unit play on that one. For the London matchup between the Jacksonville Jaguars and Atlanta Falcons, I'm going to go with the Jags to bounce back here and get a win against my Falcons. Yes, I like the Falcons, but they can't throw the ball whatsoever, and I think the Jags are going to just produce a little bit more points than they can in this one and cover the minus 3. 1-unit play on that one. Probably the game of the week in the NFL, I think it is anyway. Dolphins versus Bills. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I lean Dolphins, but I worry about their defense a little bit. I think the Bills might have a little bit more talent defensively, but I think this will be a shootout. I'm going to take the Dolphins and Bills over 53.5 at minus 108. 3-unit play there. And then I'm going to go with some heavy favorites in the Eagles minus 8.5 at even, well, a little juice, minus 110 versus the Commanders. 2-unit on that one. And the Chiefs minus 8.5 at minus 110 versus the Jets. 2-unit play there. I've got one teaser and one parlay in the NFL. We'll start with the teaser. This is adding 7 points to all these spreads. So I'm going to have the Chiefs at -1.5, the 49ers at minus a touchdown, and the Eagles at -1.5 for plus 120. 5-unit play there, hoping to help build our bankroll a little bit with that one, cover some of our riskier plays. And then finally, I'm going to end it with a 3-unit parlay on the Chiefs -8.5, Eagles -8.5, and Steelers -3 for plus 621. 3-unit play on that one. Those are all my bets this week. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow us to get all of our videos. Check out our Wager Zone video and be sure to look out for Champ Chesterfield's picks. That's my show for today, and I'm out.
Dynamite picks. Boom goes the dynamite.